Welcome to another edition of Play It Through, and this time around it's Ninja Gaiden, brought to us by Tecmo. Now, Ninja Gaiden is one of the most popular franchises to come out of the NES era, and that's for several reasons. Good gameplay, great music, and it's one of the first games to tell its storyline throughout the actual game. Most games of the NES era, you would get a instruction manual that would come in the game that would kind of tell you what the storyline was either before or what was going on during the game, give you some details about the backgrounds of some of the main characters of the game. But Ninja Gaiden, a lot of the game was told throughout the actual gameplay. You have these cinematic cutscenes like we're seeing right now, the prologue, that kind of sets up the game and what we're going to be doing in the actual game. And these cinematic cutscenes happen not just at the beginning or the end of certain levels, but also sometimes in the middle, between parts of levels. They kind of tell you why you're going ahead to the next part. Like, why are you continuing? What did each character mean? Like, when you kill a boss, giving you a little bit of clues on where to go to next, or the interaction between yourself and the boss characters. I mean, in most games, you go in, you kill the boss, and that's it. Your score racks up, and the next level comes in. But in this game, you kill a boss, and then you're finding out what your character did next to get to the place that you're playing in through in the next level. Another one of the most talked about things about Ninja Gaiden is the difficulty. Some of the later levels have extreme cheapness when it comes to enemy spawn points and enemy placement. Well, it causes you to die over and over again. It's also one of those games that when you get hit, you get knocked backwards, and you get knocked backwards a pretty great deal when you get hit in this game, and you will end up falling down many pits, especially if you don't know what's coming next. You make a leap thinking that you're going to make it to a platform very easily, and you end up bumping into an enemy. Now, we'll get into a lot of that later on in the game. Some of the later levels I'll point out to some of the really hard parts, but here is level 1, and we start off in a basic city, and the storyline for this game goes, you have Ryu, this ninja from Japan, and his father, who was another great ninja, legendary ninja, is in a duel, and he loses the duel. Once he dies in the duel, he gives a note to Ryu to go to America and seek out this archaeologist. And that's why we are currently in the place we are right now. We're in America, hunting through the city to find this archaeologist, whose name is Walter Smith, and he's going to give us some information about our dad and what our purpose of coming to America is. Now, the gameplay for the game, similar to Castlevania in some ways because of the health bar, I guess, is actually the end of the first level in our first boss fight. This boss is Barbarian. He's one of the Malice 4, like the 4 main antagonists that are working for like the big boss of the game. Very easy to take care of. You duck in front of him, hit him a few times, back up before he hits you, and then repeat. The gameplay, what makes Ninja Gaiden so unique is definitely the ability to climb and jump onto walls, kind of like Spider-Man. In later games, they added it so that you can actually scale the walls easily, hitting up and down to climb them. You can do that in this game, but only on a few spots, mainly where like a ladder would be, and then you can climb up it. But in this one, you mainly have to, like, when you jump on a wall, jump off of it, and then kind of hit the same button that you were going, the same direction, to kind of get back up and try to inch your way farther and farther up the wall. Or when you have two platforms right next to one another, you're jumping between each one of them, scaling it back and forth to work your way to the top. Another cool thing in this game that makes it kind of similar to Castlevania is the different weapons that you have. Throughout the game, you find different weapons, like a shuriken that you throw out, or this fireball move that you can use that can really help you in certain areas. The shuriken's definitely one of the best things you can get in the game, best items, weapons you can get, because it kind of works like a boomerang. You shoot it out, and then you can technically jump over it, and it'll go underneath you, go on to the other direction, and then come back at you. And if you can time it correctly, you can actually just keep getting it to go back and forth and take out all the enemies that are to your left and to your right. One other final thing that compares it, I guess, to Castlevania, and since I've already played a couple Castlevania games recently, I guess I can compare it to that. But you have, for your items, to be able to use them, similar to the heart system, is you pick up these like Japanese scrolls that add to your meter, and each weapon, each item that you use, uses a different amount of the meter. Right now I have 5 of it right now. Each one uses a different amount of that in order to be able to be used. Now, in that last cutscene, what you just saw happen, this is the first time I actually can scale the walls. As you can see, it's a ladder on the actual wall. We made it to a bar where we were supposed to meet up with Walter Smith, but instead, this woman kidnaps us, and we end up in like a random prison cell, and then all she does is she lets us go and hands us a statue and just tells us to leave. There's someone coming and we have to escape. Of course, we're going to find out more about her identity, and the point of the statue as we continue the game. I'm just going to kind of go with it instead of kind of spoiling everything from the start. We'll see it as we go. In some of the cutscenes, I won't do as much commentary, because I know it's the beginning of the game, so I'm kind of trying to get everything out about the game like usual. And I'll slow down during the actual cutscenes to kind of let you read the cutscene and enjoy it for yourself and see how the story, especially if you've never played the Ninja Gaiden games before. If you've seen other speedruns of the game, most speedruns and people that play the game, of course, are going to go ahead and skip the cutscenes. I also want to apologize ahead of time for my voice in this one. I know it's always, my voice is my voice, but I have a very sore throat right now. I'm dealing with a cold, so it's definitely a little bit scratchier than normal, so it's probably even a little bit more of a pain to listen to, but I hope you enjoy this video anyway. So, on with the game. The worst enemies in this game definitely go to any type, and this goes for all the Ninja Gaiden games on the NES, is any enemy that flies. Whether it's hawks, like these eagles that attack you, or whether or not it's the bats that come at you, they can be the most annoying. I think the eagles, or the hawks, or falcons, whatever they are, beat anyone, and we'll see them later on. But they can definitely be the most annoying, and that whole knockback factor really comes into play with them. Now, this is the second boss. This is Bomberhead. I think this one's Bomberhead. Of the 4 Malice 4 members, I think that one's name is Bomberhead. Don't really know why. I know he's already taken care of. Basic strategy works the same as for the first one, the Barbarian boss. Just get up close to him, duck underneath him, and hit him. And as long as you duck before he uses his weapon, you'll be underneath of it, and he won't be able to hit you with it. So he's pretty easy. Now, don't think all the bosses of Ninja Gaiden, if you've never played this before, don't think they're all that easy. Trust me, most of these bosses are a real pain in the butt to deal with. The later ones, including especially like the main bosses of these games, are very, very challenging to deal with. So now it's time for Act 3. I always kind of liked that the levels were acts instead of, world or level. Kind of gave a unique feel. Kind of gave it that more cinematic feel, being called Act and all. There's a total of 6 acts in the first Ninja Gaiden, then there's 7 in the 2 sequels after this. Ninja Gaiden 2 is my personal favorite of the series, and we'll get to that next week. This one is always up there too. 3 has a little bit of a weird following, and I'll explain, how 3 is a lot different from the first 2 games when we get to that one. Now, to continue on the story, we've met up with Walter Smith, who's explaining the history of the statues that we got. Basically, the 2 statues were because an ancient demon was fought by another ninja named Shinobi, no relation to the Sega Genesis, or Sega Shinobi. But Shinobi defeats the evil force, beats it with the dragon sword, and uses these 2 statues to kind of split the power, and when these 2 statues come together, if used correctly, they can summon the demon, or resurrect the demon and bring it back to life. And that is kind of like the main purpose of what the main villains of the game are looking to do. As Walter is explaining that whole little ordeal to us, like I said, I'll keep quiet for most of the cutscenes. So just as Walter finishes explaining the whole thing with the statues, another random ninja comes in and steals the statue. So now it's up to Ryu to now go through a weird cabin by the lake-esque level to hunt down this ninja in Act 3 to get the statue back. And this is the first level that we deal with the Eagle Falcon enemies, whatever they are. They come at you from either direction. If you don't kill them on the first go-round, they go past you, they stop, and then they come back at you if you're not quick enough. Now, The real goal with them is to get them to go past you, and if you continue walking, they'll go off screen, and they won't be able to come back at you. Or, if you can, take them out on when they're first coming at you. Now, that's not always going to be an option. Sometimes you have to take it slow because you're trying to make certain jumps.